Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
A number of you, I think, have been contacted by either your Chamber of Commerce or some local businesses about an issue related to the County Commission's ability to provide revenue or funding to assist small businesses. We believe this originated perhaps from the Small Business Commission that was created a couple of years ago that has proposed legislation to help encourage us and improve the efforts of small businesses in Alabama. In addition, I know that some of you have been contacted by your chambers of commerce about an effort to try to generate revenue that the commission might make available to local businesses during these times. Several of you have called us and asked this question, so I wanted to spend a minute this afternoon talking to you about that issue. Many of you are aware that and have participated, of course, when new businesses, primarily industries and others, come to your community, they ask for you to do road improvements or to provide property or buildings, and sometimes they actually ask for cash straight up. That there is really one and only one way for the county commission to do that. We have the constitutional provision that says the county commission cannot provide a thing of value to a person or corporation. Years ago, the legislature adopted what we know as Amendment 772, and the voters ratified that amendment that gave counties a set of powers that have been used on a number of occasions around the state to provide incentives, but a set of powers that are very specific and that are very limited. And in this situation, quite honestly, attempting to utilize Amendment 772 to give money to the Chamber of Commerce so that the Chamber of Commerce can give it to businesses, or the request that has come to some counties that you just give money directly to a business. Both of those are going to be a bit complicated using Amendment 772, and let me talk about those powers for just a moment. Amendment 772 literally gives counties four sets of powers with regard to providing incentives to businesses and industry. First of all, counties can purchase or lease or acquire buildings, other structures. There in the language also refers to constructing roads. And you can do that for use of an industry, industrial parks, or similar other entities. You can also lease or sell or grant or otherwise convey that property and buildings then to industrial, commercial, research, or service facilities that might be locating or are located that are looking at to expand in your county. So you can purchase land, buildings, etc. You can then convey those lands and buildings, etc. to industrial, commercial, research, or service facilities, and those are very specific in the law. You can lend your credit, grant public funds, give a thing of value to individuals, firms, corporations for the purpose of promoting the economic and industrial development of the county. And you can borrow funds, but it is this lending your credit or granting funds and things of value to individuals and corporations that we would be talking about in this context. So the amendment would allow you to do that to promote the economic and industrial development of the county. And then the amendment says, okay, if you want to do it, here's how you do it. First, the county commission has to hold a public hearing to discuss this matter before it can act on it. And it has to give 7 days notice of when that public hearing will take place and when the commission will act on it. The notice has to do a couple of things that are very, very important. You have to describe in reasonable details the action that you're going to consider. That is, you have to say which one of the four powers you plan to use and how do you plan to use it. And then you have to identify, and this is very important, in the Constitution, you have to identify each individual firm, corporation, or other business entity that will receive the benefits. In the context that we're talking about of the requests that many of you have gotten, this is an important detail. You have to identify the individual firms and businesses that would benefit. We also have the difficulty today in being able to conduct a public hearing. Almost all of you have closed your courthouse to the public. You're trying not to have commission meetings. If you have them, you're trying very much to eliminate and control the agenda to only the most necessary activities, because we are trying to reduce interaction with the public. And to use these powers, you would have to conduct a public hearing. Where would you conduct it? How could you conduct it in a courthouse that you have closed to the public? I think you would likely have to conduct your public hearing somewhere else. So you could not conduct it by video or by phone, because the waiver of the public the open meetings law that the governor adopted under her emergency powers deals only for things you're doing to address specific activities related to the county's need to take action under the threat of COVID-19. So, but once you did that, you provided the notice, you had the public hearing, then you would have to adopt a resolution approving the action and making a determination that the expenditure of these public funds would serve a valid and sufficient public purpose, notwithstanding the fact that the Constitution elsewhere says you can't do it. We provide you that information so that you can have it to use to respond to those who may be asking you to participate in this way. Certainly, it's a decision for you to make. It's a decision you should not make without consulting your county attorney and discussing this in detail. Again, I think given the current circumstances and the way these proposals have been discussed with us, we think it would be a very, very narrow window for counties to be able to carry out and provide this revenue.